By the light of the sun, by the depth of the moon, by the flame of the wand, and by the pentacle of earth, I call upon the guides of wisdom, the ancestors of the craft, and the holy guardian angel. Guide us now through the stations of the dove and serpent. Reveal what is hidden, so we may transform it into light. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. In this reading, we walk the path of the dove and serpent spread, an 11-fold journey of transformation. Each position reveals a unique aspect of your journey, alternating between the essence of your being and the events that shape your destiny. Remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Leo, the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Seven of Cups. Now, this is not a bad card, okay? I know it looks a little icky, right? The Seven of Cups is the recognition that we need to pull ourselves out of something, or we need to separate ourselves from something. Okay, this reveals position one, the station. It's your sense of self right now. This is kind of how we see ourselves, that there's something that is not good for me. You know, that we're observing our life and we're finding ways that we can perhaps purify. Could be that you're going through an emotional purging. It could be that we're recognizing a situation right now that seems less than ideal, to put it mildly, right? We could be in a toxic situation. We could be realizing that there is something that I can recognize that I need to get away from. I need to flush something out of my system, so to speak, okay? It could be a relationship. It could be a habit. It could be part of our lifestyle. It could be some toxic friendships. It could be a family thing that's going on. This is what we are looking at when we close our eyes at night, what's occupying our mind. When things slow down in the world, what is the one problem that your mind always tends to go to? Okay, what is the thing that if there's not a lot of other distractions in life, what is the problem that your mind always kind of settles on to start thinking about? Okay, I think that's what we need to focus on right now, because this is something that maybe at one time was feeling good, was of great benefit to us. It doesn't seem to be anymore. This is kind of a swamp. This is kind of a quicksand, right? And it may be that we're kind of feeling stuck in the mud, that we know that there's something we need to change, but we're unsure how to pull ourselves out of this, okay? And, well, we need to put this card into some context. It's a very good card to start with, because it gives us the reassurance that we can do this, right? This is a 7. It's related to the planet Venus. Venus is all about love, right? Self-love and care and nurturing. And so this is kind of us caring enough for ourselves that we're saying, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I don't want this in my life anymore. I want to do something about this. Okay? So let's put this card into a little bit of context. Now, Leo, you were not here by accident. Okay? You were meant to see this message. And right away, we get a very strong Leo card, and it's a Jupiter in Leo, 6 of Wands, okay? So that's very, very good. We have the Lover's card. We have the Fool. We have a 2 of Cups, and we have a Princess of Cups. We have the Hierophant. We have a 5 of Cups. We have an 8 of Cups, right? A lot of water already. And we have a Prince of Swords to finish up. Okay, let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right here with our little octopus friend, the 8 of Pentacles, right there on top. And we're not going to look at that card until the very end, but if at any point during this message you feel like you might know what it could be, put your prediction in the comments down below, okay? Now, as we look around the room, we see a couple of major arcana cards, don't we? We see 1, 2, 3, yeah. It kind of feels like this is a supportive energy, right? You've got the Fool, you've got the Lovers, you've got the Hierophant. And I think this, especially the Fool, I think is a very, it's a very innocent card, okay? And so what it's telling me is that the reason why you're in that Seven of Cups situation now is not because of your own fault. It almost feels as if we kind of stumbled into it, which isn't to say that you have taken no part in this, right? But we realize that we can't really hold ourselves to blame, that we can't use this to sort of punish ourselves, right? It's kind of like saying, it's here, stuff happens, and I'm here, and I've just got to deal with it, okay? But we have the very supportive Lovers card and the Hierophant, so it's kind of like we have the support, we know what we need to do, and I think the support system is there for you, okay? The Fire is right here in the middle, and this is really the battle station for you. We've got, obviously, water, a lot of water, a little bit of air, and, well, no real earth cards, okay? Just a lot of water, a little bit of fire, a little bit of air. But let's talk about the Six of Wands right here in the battle position. This is kind of the quest for you. This is what you're being called upon right now to do. And to me, this is a win. This is a victory, right? This is, it's kind of, the Seven of Cups is very often like a red alert. It's kind of saying, look, there's something in your life right now that is not helping you. And we need to remove it from our lives. This is something that's mixed into your energy that doesn't need to be there. Okay, so this is not about finding something that we can add to our life to make us feel better. This is not about finding more of something, more of the good stuff. This is about getting rid of some of the bad stuff in order to make room for the good stuff, And of course, the Six of Wands is your success at doing that. You are capable of this, and you are going to do this. This is the card of victory, that we have to continue to show up and battle this thing, whatever it might be, in order to make a difference, in order to sort of get it gone, right? Having victory over this. Maybe this is a bad habit. Maybe this is some part of our, our lifestyle or our diet or something. I feel like it's more of an emotional thing. I feel like it's more of a kind of a toxic emotional energy. Maybe there's a friendship. Maybe there's an aspect of your relationship with a family member or a friend that is I hate to use the word toxic, but it really looks that way with this card, doesn't it? This looks like a very toxic energy. And this is us succeeding in getting this thing out of our lives in whatever way that means, okay, as far as this emotional energy goes. So it feels like we have this confidence, and I think that's really what we need. This is testing your strength. It's testing your resolve. This is where you need to fight in order to grow, because what the Seven of Cups is like is that we're trying to grow a tree, and we keep giving it a bunch of water, but maybe there's something in the water that the tree doesn't like, and it's not growing. And we don't know why, but the tree keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's withering away. We don't know why that is. We think, well, maybe I'll give it more water, right? Maybe I'll give it more attention, more sunlight, more soil, more whatever. Maybe that's the problem, though. Maybe this is about removing things, like I said, removing things from our life that are draining our emotional energy. Maybe feels to me like there is an emotional vampire in your midst, okay? And, well, this is us succeeding at noticing that. The Seven of Cups is a blessed card, because it shows that we're able to see something now for what it is. This very often masquerades as something quite nice, lovely, but you're able to see it for what it is, and that is a win all by itself. Okay, so this is a very good card because we're able to now see what it is that is draining this energy from us, a psychic vampire, an emotional vampire. And we're able to see the toxic element, and the Six of Wands is the confidence now to do something about it. So we are being called upon to change, to have the courage to win over this thing. It doesn't mean that we're fighting somebody. It's not going to come to blows, right? It's not fisticuffs, but it's fighting with ourselves because, well, we have to have the power to lift ourselves up and take ourselves out of this swamp. So I know it feels like we're supposed to remove something from us, but maybe in practice this is about us stepping away from something that's no longer serving us. Okay? Because we can't control other people. We can't force them to behave a certain way. So if somebody is acting in a sort of toxic or draining or in a way that we don't appreciate and we don't want into our lives, want to allow into our lives, we have to control our behavior. We have to make the move. We can't expect them to correct their behavior. I think you've probably had the conversation. We've probably addressed this in some way already, but then again, maybe not, because the only air energy we have is here towards the end of the spread. Okay, and maybe that is maybe that's what's coming here as the final outcome here. But let's go under the surface to the soul. Right, reveals your unconscious drives, your private self, the emotional landscape beneath the surface here, and this is the lovers. Okay, you are a lover, not a fighter. You're somebody who wants a unique bond. You want intimacy. You want a connection with people, friends, family members, lovers. Like, you want close relationships where there is a deep spiritual and emotional bond, where it's reciprocating, it's the two-way street, where it's mutually beneficial, it's uplifting. You want to be raised up. You want to feel like the relationship you're in makes you want to be the best you can be, you know? You want it to feel good. You want it to inspire you, and you want to inspire the other person. And we want that sort of, we want that dynamic in our lives, between people in our lives, okay? And the problem here, I think, with our Seven of Cups is that we're not feeling that right now. There's something blocking that connection. And whether this means that this is not the right person for you, and the person themselves, and we need to get away from them permanently, or if it means that something about that relationship needs to be addressed. Okay? So Tarot's not saying you need to leave your relationship, right? Tarot wouldn't say that to you. What Spirit is saying is that there's some aspect of this relationship that isn't serving us. There's something in the way preventing us from uniting and really feeling the bond between us and this other thing. Or I think it's a person, but ultimately it doesn't have to be a person even. Just because it's the Lover's card, put your pitchforks away, doesn't mean it's romance. This could be your relationship with your dog. It could be your relationship with your car, or with your job, or coworkers, or whatever, right? The book you're reading. That there's something preventing you from enjoying the book you're reading and from really connecting with it. And what is that element? You see, it doesn't have to be interpersonal, but most likely it is, okay? So that's kind of the example we're going to use, but just keep in mind it can be anything, all right? And what the tarot is really trying to teach you, or trying to really remind you of, is the fact that you're the magician. You are not the fool, you're the magician. And the magician can shape reality, okay? The magician can transmit the will and the intention into manifested world and create life. Create the world, create our existence, create our personality and our personal reality. And this is the personal reality that you want. This is your desire. This is your inner nature here. This is something that really is seeking expression. It's like, this is what you want. You want romance. You want laughter, family, togetherness, connection, unity. But something's preventing that unity. Okay, so there's some toxic element that's getting in between this, and it's this relationship isn't growing the way it's supposed to. And the Seven of Cups is that toxic element. Okay, and to me, my first impression was it is an emotional vampire. Okay, and I'm getting, I think it's an A, but I'm also getting a V. Okay, so I don't know if that's first initial, if it's spelling something, but an A and or a V might be related to this in some way for you. Okay, let's go to position 4, which is called the dwarf, and this is the past, right? This is some past event that is still influencing the present moment. And maybe inertia, maybe karma, Right now we have the Fool, okay? And the Fool in the recent past, I think, is kind of showing that there was a time where we didn't quite know what direction we were moving in, you know? I think that you feel like you were perhaps misled by something, or that there was something that took advantage of your, let's say, of your innocence, right? And we didn't know any better at the time. We kind of felt like we were, and maybe this is how we feel now. Right now, looking back, we feel like, oh gosh, I was just a fool. I had no idea what this was going to be. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I can't believe that I just like almost gullibly fell for this or got into this, right? And I think that in some ways this can be harmful to ourselves because we'll start blaming ourselves. We'll start saying, I should have known better, you know? That there was, there was something that I could have seen, I could have done, I should have known. I don't know, I can't believe I was that foolish or that stupid to get into this or to fall for this or to believe in this or whatever. And I think right now that's kind of, that's not serving us either. Yeah. So we don't want this situation to really double down on its toxicity by then causing us to think very poorly of ourselves. Okay? Because sometimes the Fool is really like, it literally is just, it was a foolish thing. I don't know. I leaped into something that I think that there was a need for something back here in your past when this relationship began, whether it's with the book, the car, the job, the dog, the other person, it doesn't matter. When this began, there was a need for something, and I think that we thought this relationship would fulfill that need. And it doesn't seem like it is. It feels like this person is not fulfilling the need that we thought that they would, even though it's not really their job, you know. And so I feel like there's maybe there's some unreasonable expectations that we have, okay? I think for the most part, this is something other than what we thought it was going to be. And the recognition of the Fool here might be saying, yeah, look, I stumbled into something that I didn't look before I leaped, right? I sort of jumped into something and I didn't really think it through. I didn't really, I just felt like at the time it was a good thing to do and I kind of jumped in, maybe feel like we were being a little bit drawn into something, like this that we maybe should have thought twice about it, but you know what? We didn't. The past is in the past. We made the decision, and that's okay. Okay? In some ways, this is, we can look at it as there are no accidents. There's no such thing as a fool. Everybody is a sage, that there is no accident here, that we were meant to so-called stumble into this thing or be misled or be gullible or whatever, because this is where now our spiritual development can take place. The Fool is our original nature. I'm just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, I'm just I'm wet behind the ears, I'm fresh, and I'm going to experience life in all of its ups and downs. In the process of remembering that I'm the magician, we all start out as the Fool, right? And so this is an opportunity for you to realize that you're the magician, and what does the magician do? Cause change in conformity with will. What is your will? And how do we exercise that will to create the life, the personality and the personal reality that we want? Well, the first step then, the Fool has to recognize that I stepped in a little bit of bovine excrement, a little bit of doo-doo here, okay? And what the Fool has to do to exercise that will is to have the confidence, really, to continue to battle against this in whatever way is appropriate, okay, to manifest what it is that we really truly want. And that is unity, that is bond, intimacy, connection. Yeah. So it brings us up to position 5. The Giant reveals the driving force. Your dominant motivation is love. Right? And it could be that love is keeping you here, even though we know it's a bit of a quicksand. Yeah. This is your personal virtue. And this is love. This is the urge to merge. So it really is reflective of this. We're desiring, this is what we want, right? This is our ability to kind of choose, right? And we are trying to choose the highest form of love that we can, conceive of. Yeah. So this is kind of our ambition. This is the love that is gluing the two lovers together, so to speak, right? And so that is, we have to understand, is our love right now misplaced? Because again, the lover's card is a choice. This is us choosing something and saying no to everything else, right? Understanding the power of our choice. We're choosing to unite ourselves with something, and that is an act of will, and that results in magic, of one form or another. But then we need to understand if this was a good choice or not. Not every choice that the magician makes, or that, let's say, the fool makes on the path of remembering their magicianhood, not every choice is a good choice. Okay? But your intentions are pure. There's a purpose, there's a reason why you chose this. And it may be we chose it rather unconsciously in order to work on certain aspects of ourselves, right? In order to maybe, to get some shadow work done or something like that. But what we have to do now is try to clarify if this is the thing that still matters to me, and if I can identify what the toxic element is, if we can purify that and continue on this path, continue on this journey that we've begun with this thing, this person, place, or thing. Okay. So right now, what we're looking for is love, and I think the question we have to ask here is, is this a situation that still deserves my full commitment and my full love? Is this a situation that is at its foundation reciprocating, supportive, inspiring, uplifting? Does this person I'm with, do they make me want to be a better person? Do they inspire me to grow and to change and to be more than who I was before? Or is this, an emotional vampire or a psychic drain, or is this a toxic situation? And it's very probable that it's a little bit of both, okay? And so the choice really is the big sort of question here, right? Are we going to stay and work this out, or is it gone past a certain point? Have we gone past the event horizon now, where there is no turning back from this? Yeah, and I think it's important that we take the responsibility to make that choice. Okay, but we can see that your ambition, your motivation is love. You want that bond, you want that togetherness, you want to have that uplifting kind of relationship. And maybe this is the book, or the dog, and it's just kind of saying, well, it's just not working out, right? Or it will work out, but there's some things we need to work on, that we've got to, we've got to be honest, we've got to be reasonable, and maybe there are things that we can do together to get past this, okay? The next card in the spread is position 6. It's the Imago, the next steps for you. And the next step for you, I believe, is being very open about your feelings right now, okay? This is the Princess of Cups, and this to me is feeling and behavior. How are our feelings influencing our behavior? And do we need to perhaps put a little bit of space in between how we feel and the way we behave? Okay? Because again, we can't control the other person. But what we can do is control ourselves. We can be mindful of how our maybe negative emotions sometimes, right? How our negative emotions are translating into our behavior. That's all we can do is focus on ourselves. How are we behaving? And if we can be in kind of an honest assessment of ourselves, it might give us some clarity as to whether or not this is a situation we want to remain in and figure out how to purify this water, or if we just need to say, I need to get out of this swamp and go dry off somewhere, go take a shower, you know. This is a card that usually is our emotions sort of driving the car, right? All the princesses are kind of like we're on almost an autopilot. That we've let let's say you have autopilot in your car. I don't know if anybody does that, or in the airplane, autopilot, right? And what if your autopilot was an emotional wreck, right? I wouldn't want that autopilot flying the plane or driving the car or the boat or the submarine or whatever. So we need to put a buffer here. And I think that's why we have this little bit of air energy here. This is double air energy, really. And so this is kind of like saying, I'm not going to make any decisions. I'm not going to behave in any way until I put some space between my emotions and, you know, my behaviors. This card is also talking about how we feel our emotions in the body. This is earth and water, basically, right? And we take earth and water together. It's about us trying to understand how our emotions really feel. Why are they called feelings, right? Because we feel them. And feeling is usually something that's tactile and sensual, right? That we can feel those emotions in our body. And so we have to understand, like, if something here is a 7 of Cups, you're going to feel it in your body. Let's think of it, you drink some bad water, you're going to feel it in your body, right? And it's going to feel terrible. And the emotions will be there too, right? I mean, you ever had a really bad tummy ache? You're crying, you know? It feels awful. And so it feels to me like we need to get in touch with how this situation really feels, even if we're not thinking about it. And I think that's part of this is cards are very complex, right? And I think all of the cards are connected together. These aren't separate. The tarot is not a deck of 78 cards, right? It's one universe. It's the entire universe, you know, that we can that rearranges every time we shuffle the cards and lay out a spread. It's a new snapshot of the universe, okay? And as we know about the universe, everything is connected. Everything means everything, right? And this is that card that, yes, it does say that we need to put some space and some thought between how I am feeling and how I'm behaving. But it's also saying that we need to first, and maybe more importantly, we need to sit there and feel how we feel. Where do you hold your emotions in your body? Is it a tummy ache all the time? Is it a headache? Is it tension in the shoulders? I feel it's something on the right side for you, yeah? It's like a shoulder thing. You know, how is it manifesting in our physical world? And those emotions, they manifest as our behaviors too. And so, yes, we do need to sort of put a little bit of air, a little bit of space between how we feel and how we're behaving. And we need to sit with our feelings to understand where in the body they're located. And I think this helps us to clarify to ourselves what's going on and what we want, what we do about it. Okay, it's a practice. This is a card of practicing, because usually, like I said, this is the emotions just driving the car. However I feel, that's where I'm going, driving the car. You don't want to drive the car when you're emotional, right? I mean, try to avoid that, I would think. Seems dangerous. And so it's the same thing here in the tarot. We don't want to let our emotions sort of control our bodies. Okay? We don't want to do any kind of major behaviors or take any major steps or actions when we're feeling emotional. Okay? Especially with the negative emotions, or the positive emotions too. Because what if you're feeling elated one day and you make a bunch of commitments, and then later on when you sort of calm down again, you think, gosh, why did I do all those things? Why did I say yes to all that stuff? I was just riding a high wave and I just felt good, so I said yes to all these things and I don't want to do them. So I think it's important that we understand this, and in the context of how we feel. Okay, so that's the kind of next steps for you. In order to gain the victory that we need over this toxic energy, one way or the other. We either purify it and the relationship stays together and it stays pure and it starts working out and things get better, or we pull ourselves out of this swamp and we get as far away from it as we can. Either way, you're getting a victory over that Seven of Cups. In other words, things cannot stay the same for you. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the path of the serpent. As we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And if there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, your persona, your general energy, is our Hierophant card. I like the Hierophant in the position of the persona, usually, because this is your general energy. This says that we're finding our own guidance from our own highest self, that we are sort of, that we're acting as our own spiritual guide, okay? And sometimes, though, this is sometimes a mask that we're wearing that's facing the outside world, okay? So it's the persona card, right? So this is sometimes how we are interfacing with the rest of the world. The costume that we wear in the greater theater of life, how others kind of see us. People see you as the one who gives advice. People see you as the one who knows the way, knows the answers. I think that you're a very wise person. People see you as being a wise person. And sometimes when we feel that way, we almost, or when when we're perceived that way, we maybe don't always feel comfortable or like we're allowed to not know the answers. That we're allowed to just kind of like need guidance of our own. Okay? So like I said, usually this is a very positive card. Usually I don't like it when the Hierophant is in the environment position, because then it shows that we are getting, too much influence from outside and somebody else is dictating to us what we should or should not be doing. This is kind of a way for Spirit to tell you that you know the way forward. You know the right thing to do here. You know that what you are, who you are, is a very sacred thing, and we don't let anything come in and violate our sanctity, right, as spiritual beings. At the same time, this might be an energy that says, I should be able to figure this out on my own, and I don't need to ask for help. Okay? Because the Hierophant is very often, it's us getting guidance from the wise one, right? From, it's what the I Ching was called, the great person, right? The Da Ren, the great person. Finding somebody outside of ourselves that can help us, that can guide us, okay? And we can look at this as an appeal to our higher self, our higher nature, conscience, God, Goddess, deity, to higher wisdom and discernment, to universal mind, universal energy, whatever you want to call it, the guardian angels, spirit guide, ancestors, any of that, all of it, right? I believe in all of those things. And I think that this sometimes needs to be recognized, that I don't always have the answers. Okay, that I might be, in a way, hiding behind this image that says I'm supposed to be perfect, and because I'm the one that transmits the wisdom. We think of a Hierophant as somebody who is teaching other people about the spiritual truths, about what is sacred, right? And so there's kind of this expectation that our preachers, right, or our guides, or our therapists even, right, our clergy are infallible and perfect beings that never have any problems of their own, right? And we want to be careful with this, because we need to admit that I don't know sometimes. We need to be able to say, sometimes I've made mistakes and I'm feeling a certain way right now, and that's okay. I'm not perfect. Nobody expects me to be perfect. I am fallible and human, at least I think most of us, right? But we kind of look at other people, or we're thinking of other people as seeing us that way. And we don't want other people to see us kind of in our fallibility. Does that make sense? And so we need to sort of break this down a little bit, and we need to ask for help if we need the help. I think this is maybe one of the rare occasions where I would say, I wish the Hierophant was in the environment. Because then it's kind of saying, like, maybe we should seek out like some, family counseling. Maybe we should go and talk to somebody, kind of a third party, someone outside of the situation. Go talk to a therapist or a member of the clergy, or somebody that can somebody that we trust that can provide a little bit of insight or guidance, right? But we've got it the other way around, and we have this energy now coming from inside of you. So I feel like that recommendation still stands. You should go seek out counseling or the clergy or somebody that you respect and trust that can give you some guidance or insight, right? I think at the same time, you need to look deep within yourself and get in contact with your internal spiritual guide, okay? To find out, like, what is the real truth here? Not ego, beyond ego. Because the ego's going to be all mixed up with some of these feelings and thoughts and all these things. I think part of the path of the fool becoming the magician is knowing when to say, I don't know. Let's say the fool is wearing the mask of the Hierophant, right? But it's just a fool. It's kind of like a Wizard of Oz kind of thing, right? So sometimes we have to realize that, yeah, you know what, I don't know all the answers, and I can seek out wisdom and guidance from somebody else, whether it's, the internet, whether it's YouTube, whether it's a friend, family member, a member of the clergy, a counselor, a therapist, a spiritual advisor, a intuitive consultant, a tarot reader, to get kind of an outside perspective is going to be a very bold move, and I think that's going to be very courageous for you. Okay, a trusted friend or, a parent, whatever it is. Yeah. The next card we have is the shadow position, position 8. This is sometimes events that are happening in your life that are revealing to you the shadow side, right? So to me, the 5 of Cups it's a card of disappointment. And it's in your relationships, it's in your environment. So there's something in your life right now, whether it's the person, place, or thing, the dog, the car, the job, the book, or the relationship with a person. There's something that feels disappointing. It's like something should be there, but it's not. And what is not there, I think, is the bond, the love, the connection, the deeper soul union, And so these 2 cards, these 2 positions of the dove and serpent spread are intimately connected. One day I'll write a book or make a diagram of all these intricacies. But these 2 positions are connected. These 2 positions are connected up here, okay? But first, these 2, the events that are happening in your life, because they are less than what we want, it's making it very apparent what's not there. It's like we can easily see what's missing sometimes, okay? And so in this relationship, there are moments where you get a deep sort of feeling, visceral feeling of something's not here that should be here. Something's missing from this. And so it's not to contradict our 7 of Cups, which is saying that something's here that shouldn't be, right? And I think that what is here that shouldn't be here is just the toxic energy. Maybe this is a lot of bickering or fighting. Maybe this is bad mood. This is some bad blood between people. This is the negativity, right? And the reason why the negativity is here is because we're acutely aware of what's missing here, okay? I know maybe this is confusing, but this is a situation that is really bringing about these shadow qualities or behaviors, or whatever you want to call them, but is also making you very acutely aware of what it is you truly want. So sometimes we're in a relationship and it sort of teaches us, right? This is the environment teaching you what it is you really want in life. And sometimes we need to go through a 5 or a 7 or an 8 of Cups, in order to realize what I really want in life. And now that I know what I really want in life, I know what I need to remove from my life, what's in my way. Scooch over, I'm going this way, And that's kind of where this energy is flowing today. The next card is position 9. It's the fear, worry, and concern. And this, I think, is a kind of stagnation. At least with the 7, it's an active card. We're realizing something and we're saying, I got to do something about it. At least there's some sort of a dynamic. Like a 7 is kind of saying, like, we may be fighting and arguing, and there may be a lot of resentment or animosity, a lot of negativity flowing between us. But at least we're interacting. This is kind of that almost a step beyond, where it's just like now we're not even really talking anymore. So this kind of is almost a resignation. This is where the water is not moving. At least with the 7, the water's flowing. It might be toxic water, but at least it's moving. This is now the water is not moving. So we kind of like, it's almost as if we've lost hope. And I think that this is your biggest fear, your biggest worry, your biggest concern. And this is, this is the feeling that there's no way out of this. This is kind of like when you're in the quicksand and you're trying to get out of the quicksand, and you're trying to like lift up your legs and lean back. Then now they're saying you lift up both legs and you lean back. That's how you get out of quicksand. They used to teach you lift your legs up, you lean forward. I don't know. I've never been in quicksand. But at least you're trying, This, though, is that hopelessness where we just say, I guess I live in quicksand now. I guess I'm going all the way to the bottom. And so we sort of give up. We've lost hope, okay? And this is our biggest fear, is that we are just going to have to be stuck here forever and just going to have to like make the best of it. That there is no way. It's kind of the opposite of this card. And so these two positions in the dove and serpent spread, one day I'll write a book or make a diagram. These two positions are very well connected, but these are as well, okay? Every card is every card. Everything is everything, okay? Because this is us giving up. This is what we fear. This is what we're trying to do right now. We want to have victory over this. I want to work my way out of the quicksand, and I want to succeed at it. This is kind of like I've given up the fight altogether. Okay, but these two are very, very, very connected too, because these are both now states. This is a state of perfect love and reciprocating energy. This is I've given up hope to ever get this. Okay, so it's kind of, if we stop fighting, then we're saying I'm never going to get this now. If I stop, trying to be proactive anyway, I'm never going to get my 2 of Cups. I'm never going to have this relationship that's reciprocating, that's, uplifting. And so this really becomes a worse card. Obviously, I'd rather be kind of lounging on my boat, if I had a boat. I'd rather be lounging here than here. And one day I do hope to get a boat, and I hope I have a lot of days like this, and not so many days like this. But this is kind of like we're floating there. We're not swimming, we're not paddling, we're not sailing, the motor's not running, we're just existing here in this pure love. Here we're just existing in this kind of pure misery or hopelessness, okay? With the feeling like I can't get out of here and I'm just at the mercy of the weather. Yeah, can't see the blue sky over here. And this is our fear. And this is kind of like, let's not let this happen, The next card, the final card, the Destiny card, position 10, is the Prince of Swords. This is a fixed air energy. In some sense, this is saying that we are coming to a decision, we're formulating a plan of action, and we're sticking with it. We're going to be fixed in our mind, right? That we've chosen a direction, and we're moving in that direction now. Okay, fixed air energy. This is double air. But what it really says now is that I'm not sure which way to go. I don't know if I should go left or right, if I should stay, if I should leave. This is also showing in the present moment, we're doing the work. We're doing the kind of mental work of thinking about things, observing how we feel, observing our body, observing the feet, maybe having the conversation, that we're opening up and we're trying to be as willing as we can to be flexible, to be tolerant, to have a conversation, to be willing to have that exchange of information with somebody, so that we can make the right choices now to shape the world in the way we want it to be, our personality and our personal reality. We have to be willing to open up a dialogue, okay? At least with ourselves at first, with the other person, or with somebody else. Maybe we can get some outside information here. And then once we formulate a decision, we sort of stick to it. This is about making up your mind and then sticking to that choice, okay? And it may be that maybe we'll see the mystery card here, right? But this may be that we're analyzing all these things, observing all these things about our energy, and we're going to decide to stick with this and figure out a way to get through it. Okay? Where we don't have to leave the relationship or leave the dog or put the book down or whatever. And we're going to figure it out, okay? Let's uncover the mystery card together, okay? This is position 11. It's the guide, and it represents what Spirit is trying to tell you. This is your higher self, that inner teacher, the deepest wisdom, that is the inner Hierophant, right? What do we think it's going to be? It sort of helps us to understand what sort of character qualities we need to develop in order to walk the path ahead. So do we need fire energy, or do we need surrender? Do we need love? Do we need more love, right? Do we need more patience? Do we need quick action, right? What do we need? I don't know. I'm not going to try to predict this one, okay? Let's just take a look. Oh, yeah. Look at that strength. This is your superpower card, by the way. This is obviously the card that represents the sign of Leo in action, right? This is your card. And what we need is strength. What we need is courage. What we need is discipline and self-control. This is the message from your higher self. Your higher self is telling you that you need to be bold. You need to be capable. You need to believe that you can do this. That you are strong enough to get out of the quicksand. Whatever that means, I think this is a card of self-control and discipline. So this means that we're not letting our shadow qualities, our negative emotions drive the boat, okay? That we're having the courage to really address something in an honest way, to really look at things for how they are and not try to just pretend everything's fine. We're having the strength to not just lose hope and give up and say, well, I guess this is just my life now. This kind of resignation, we're not having that, okay? We're being bold and courageous. We are realizing that we are capable, and we have to observe our own thoughts, words, and deeds to make sure that we are acting as impeccably as we can, okay? And that will help us to make a decision on which way to move. And when we make that decision about which way to go, we need to develop this character quality of strength, okay? Courage. And the belief in ourselves that we are capable, that we don't have to be stuck here, that you deserve the very best and highest love, that's out there. And this is about you kind of being in control of that, knowing that you are the magician, the fool, on this path of remembering that they are the magician. They need strength. They need that strength where it's like you're tapping into that magical potential that you have and saying, I can do this. I can create my reality and my personality and my personal reality. I can do this. So there's strength and there's courage, okay? I think this is a wonderful way to end. Now, please let this message find your heart. Each card is a mirror. Each station is a temple of transformation, alternating between who you're becoming and the world that you're creating, right? Remember, the tarot does not dictate your future. It reveals the patterns of possibility. It invites you to co-create your destiny. If this reading has illuminated your soul path in any way, please share your reflections down below. Together we journey onward, ever upward, and ever inward. And we're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do an I Ching hexagram, we'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Leo on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Be sure to watch both readings. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you are watching from. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.